Hey everyone, hope everyone's been well. Sorry it's been a couple weeks. I don't think I really have anyone follow me yet, but I've been wanting to be consistent putting videos out, and I apologize. I haven't been able to finish my anger management group. I don't have my notes. I brought them a couple times home, but then I didn't record, but I do have my notes for what I want to talk about today. It's not as so many things I want to talk about, but this is what I'm currently discussing my groups right now. But it's something very important, and it goes along with anger also, and that's bullying. And so firstly, how do we classify bullying? Because sometimes we can be misunderstood what that means. So what I'm going to kind of focus on is bullying is like these verbal put downs, verbal aggression. Usually happens in school with kids. It can happen at work with adults. It doesn't stop in childhood, unfortunately. But in childhood, in some situations when we're an adult, we may be forced to cope with bullying because we don't have full control if we can get out of the situation. And sometimes, if we don't do these other things, then we can just feel like we're getting picked on, we can feel isolated, and then feeling overwhelmed. And sometimes when we don't have a plan to cope with bullying, it can lead to experiencing depression and, like I said, that feeling of overwhelmed and wanting to attempt or even complete suicide. So it's something very important because we're human. As human beings, we are social creatures. So when we feel gained up and picked on and isolated, and we feel like that no one gets us, no one is really on our team or supporting us, then I always used to say isolation creates depression. And in a way it does, is when we, like I said, we don't feel like we are connecting with anyone, and then we just want to give up. So hopefully, if you are just listening to this, you can more than welcome just listen and kind of hang out. If you want to write things down, please get your journal out. If you guys are ready, let's get started. So this time I feel like I was going to do a little board. Usually I just kind of talk and you guys listen, but I think I'm going to start using a board to help. For the ones who don't want to journal or write things down. So I'm going to write things on the board here. So what is it the first thing we can do to kind of combat and cope with bullying behavior? When people put us down, when people make fun of us, how do we cope with that? So the first thing we can do is show no emotion. Let me turn that font down a little bit. There we go. Show no emotion. So how can that help? I want you to think that bullies are doing what they're doing for a reason and an intention. So why do you think that is? One, they could be doing it for attention. But the main reason bullies do what they do is to feel like they have power and control, to feel good about themselves, basically. It's a very selfish way to make yourself feel good, right? I will feel more confident when I have to put someone down. Like if I am insecure about my weight, I may project that on someone else and make fun of them for their weight. So by putting them down for about their weight, I would feel better about myself and my own body, my own weight, right? Or it could be if I'm feeling insecure about my own, like my education, if I'm doing poorly in class, I may pick on the one who's doing well, right? Who's ever seen that in a TV show or something? But the thing is, and this is number 2, we have to realize bullying behavior is learned. And what this can do, when you understand this, is it can create patience, right? Because when someone bullies you and putting you down, or making fun of you, it's about them, honestly. It's not even about you, which is kind of odd to think, because like a lot of times they'll pick something to bully you about, but always goes back to, I have learned to meet my need of power and feeling good about myself by putting others down. I learned that either from my family, some immediate friends, maybe even a TV show. That person looked confident, and that person puts other people down, right? So bullying behavior is learned. I don't blame them. Someone treated them this way, or they saw it and saw usually someone else being bullied. So, bullying behavior is learned. And the thing is, honestly, one way to not get bullied yourself is to become a bully too. Maybe towards that person bullying you, or maybe to someone else, right? Who's ever been bullied in school and they go home and bully their parents or their siblings? That's what tends to happen, right? We don't know how to feel good about ourselves in another way that's more healthier or more appropriate, and so we'll put other people down to meet that need. So what this does, it creates patience, understanding that it's hard to be patient, especially you're in that moment, someone's screaming at you or yelling at you or making fun of you, your whole class is laughing at you and you're embarrassed. I get it, but it's not about you. It's something they've learned. Like most likely, their parents bullied them, or they saw dad bully mom, or mom bully dad. Okay. Number 2. I kind of skipped number 1. Why we don't want to show emotion. So why do you think? So that kind of goes back to what I was just saying. If a bully wants power or attention, if you don't give them that emotional response, they will tend to just leave you alone. And the thing is, even if you're very passive and you don't say anything back, you're trying to ignore, but you appear not confident and you appear that like their words are hurting your feelings and you're looking like you're hurt or scared or sad. If that's what they want, they'll just keep on you. But if you can, I'll call it a good poker face, if you can have that stone wall and not show how you're feeling through your body language and your tone, then you have more of a chance that they'll leave you alone. Okay. Number 3. Don't take anything personal. And that goes along with what we were just talking about. Even though there's some fact or truth to whatever they're saying, the reason they're putting you down is not really about you. It's mostly projection, and it's mostly because they don't know how to cope and regulate their own emotions and how they feel about themselves, and they take it out on you. It's true. So I don't want you to take anything personal. Understand that their behavior is learned, and try your best. I call it fake until you make it. Do not show emotion. Don't show that you're scared. Don't even show that you're angry with them, because that's sometimes what they want too. So number 4. Now, like I said, This is not the easiest thing to do, but learning to ignore. I have a funny story I always bring up when I do group about this, is I was once at a karate tournament, and for whatever reason, I was sitting at this bench, and this young man who's probably about 12, no, maybe about 11 or 10, started rocking the bench back and forth that I was sitting on. It was just me and him, and he stared at me this whole time, and he just kept rocking and rocking and rocking it. And I instinctively, this is before I was a counselor or anything, what I wanted to do is to turn my head and tell this kid to stop in a very aggressive manner. And I just didn't show any emotion. I just ignored him. And then he did it really hard for a little bit, and all of a sudden it just stopped, and he started watching the competition again. True story. And this kind of goes with 3 and 1 and 2, honestly, being patient, not wanting to just respond aggressively, and be patient with them. But if you don't take it personal, you don't get your feelings hurt, you don't, even if you do, you don't show it, and you just ignore it. A lot of times I'll just say, if someone will say something hurtful, I'll just like, you're funny, man, but I'll talk to you later, you have a good day. Like, I just let it just roll off my back, right? Now, some things you will need to address, right, and be assertive about, which is our next one, is to, when in conflict, be assertive. Because you will have conflict, right, with anyone. But if you can master the style of communication of being assertive, and all that means is, when someone disagrees with me, or someone is trying to hurt me in any way, my goal and intention is to protect myself, but my goal is not to hurt you. Now, I may hurt your feelings in responding assertively back, but that's not my intention, right? Like, in responding aggressively back, that person, you will make fun of me, then I will find a way to make fun of you back, right? Now, the bad thing about meeting aggression with aggression is it'll usually just escalate until someone backs down and walks away, right? Now, that is a way to cope with bullying, to be aggressive back, but there's a lot of consequences with that. It's not the ideal path with school and this civilization we live in. One, a lot of times, even if someone provoked you saying something back, or you fighting back, could get yourself in trouble. They didn't see them doing it, but they saw you doing it, because you were the one that escalated things, right? And honestly, you can create resentment with that other person, and you'll never get along with them, right? But in the way we're going to talk about, you can learn to cope and resolve, and then most of the time you can even befriend these people, because, like I said, this is all learned behavior on their part. And one belief that I have, and it's not to say it's true, but I believe it's true, is no one is born evil or bad. It's all learned behavior, right? So a lot of times, if you can be that positive influence and show them, that the way they're communicating to you and trying to hurt your feelings, it's just going to be bad for them in the long run. They'll tend to stop, and we'll get down the list and how we can make that happen. But learn to be assertive when in conflict. Now, I'm not saying that you'll never have to be physical with someone, right? And I guess we should get into that. There is a difference between bullying and assault, and sometimes they happen together, and maybe not in a form of you're in danger. Maybe they'll push you one time, or touch you, they'll poke you. But you have to think of the situation am I in danger, right? And what I say is, if you feel this situation escalating, A, get out of the situation if you can, or tell someone with authority. Because honestly, like I've talked about in other videos, it's not tattling if someone is trying to hurt you. That is not tattling at all. So I'll go ahead and include that into number 6 is include others in your plan. So, let me move that over a bit. So why is that important? The thing is, bullies usually tend to be big and strong, right? They're used to using their power to, like I said, meet their needs, right? So when I was doing a group about this, I referenced a movie called A Bug's Life. Have you guys ever watched Bug's Life? So if I'm right in the movie, you have ants and then you have grasshoppers, I think. And the grasshoppers are bullying the ants they're threatening assault to them, but they're taking their food, I believe. And the ants gather and work for it, and the grasshoppers just come in and take it. And they're bullying them. But by the end of the movie, the ants learned and they were afraid of conflict. They were afraid of being assertive. They were afraid of fighting the grasshoppers. But once they realized that there's 1,000 ants to one grasshopper, they united against each other. So if one grasshopper picked on an ant, all the ants formed against that grasshopper, right? So when one person can't win, maybe a fight or they can't feel confident, they get a whole group of people, right? So, for instance, if someone is being a bully in class, and even as a teacher, you can do this, have all the students unite against that person when they're bullying someone, if they're saying something, so classify, well, this is what bullying behavior looks like, and I want everyone to jump on this person and tell them you better stop doing that. That's not cool. Don't be putting him down. If we all jump on him, he won't get attention. Well, he'll get attention, but not the positive one he wants, and he'll feel not very confident because he's got everyone on him or her. So that's one way to include people in your plan, your peers in your work or your peers at school. Another one is including your parents in the conversation, your van driver, your bus driver, your teachers, and your principal. Now, I'm going to jump into what I was saying earlier. So aggressive behavior is our last resort, right? And this could be a reason why we might, initiate aggressive behavior or even physical aggression towards that person who is being, especially assaulting us, right? Touching us. I wouldn't say we have to be aggressive back if they're just doing what we're talking about right now, bullying. But if they're touching us or hurting us physically, and all those people in our plan won't help, or maybe they choose not to, then even if you're not in danger, you may have to be aggressive with them, right? And like I said, you exhausted your research. You told your parents. They told you have to keep going to school. They're not gonna talk to your teacher, your principal about it. They're just gonna send you to school. You talk to your friends. They all just put their head down when it happens. You talk to your teacher. She don't really care and doesn't seem like she wants to do anything. And the principal doesn't do anything either. So honestly, like, if someone is pushing me, if you've exhausted all those resources and they're assaulting you and no one is there to protect you, you have to protect yourself, right? It's the truth. And that could include, like I said, let's just say no one in authority will protect you. That may even include in prison too, right? If you feel like the security guards are not protecting you, you have to protect yourself, right? Because if you don't protect yourself and you're passive, people will prey on you. But like I said, aggressive, being aggressive physically back to them is your last resort. And even if that is what you choose to do, you have to have the game plan and mindset that you're going to do the least amount of force needed to get out of that situation, to protect yourself. If you go beyond that, you're no longer defending yourself. You are now being the bully, the attacker, right? And a good, just an example, if someone's fighting you, and let's say they hit you, and then you get a good hit on them, and you knock them down, just, get out of the situation. You're no longer in danger. They're down now. Like, hey man, leave me alone. I don't want any more of this, and just walk away. Now, if you go past that point, and you jump on that person, you just land punch after punch, and they're not defending themselves anymore. That's no longer self-defense. I want you to think of it if you told 100 people, 90 of those 100 would be on your side and agreeing that's self-defense. That's how you keep out of trouble in the long run, right? You're not looking for the fight. Okay. So let's go ahead to number 7 with that, because we've already kind of talked about it. It's get out of the situation if you can. And when you become an adult, most of the time, you can get out of the situation, right? Even, I'd say, 99% of the time, if someone is being aggressive with you or bullying you, you can choose to just not go back there. If it's happening at work and you've used your others in your plan, your coworkers and your boss, they don't do nothing about it, you have the freedom to get another job. So, but there is situations that you can't get out of it, right? And so that goes into my next one. Keep your pride in check. So, what do you guys think I mean by that? Keeping your pride in check. Well, honestly, I remember talking to adults about this very concept, about responding assertively as best as you can. And I remember someone telling me, well, I'm the nicest guy you'll ever meet until you disrespect me, right? Letting their words hurt and disrespect you, and you feeling like you have to do something about it because they said something hurtful. Like you have to show them that you have to be aggressive back. Now, like I said, that is a way to cope with the situation. And honestly, if I had to rank them, if you're going to be passive or passive-aggressive, assertive or aggressive, I would prefer you be assertive back. But the last things I don't want you to be is passive or passive-aggressive. Because that will continue the bullying, behavior on you. They feeling like that you're going to take it constant, like this constant badgering against you. But because honestly, you have to just tell yourself, like number 3, not taking anything personal. Who cares what they say or think, right? Now, I know in high school and in school, it's like you don't want people to think bad of you, right? And that judgment. But you have to just go against that, right? If they're not your close friend, if they're not your family, or they're not someone you really connect with, who cares what they think? Because the only thing that matters if the dialogue of caring what someone thinks is yourself. Okay. Number 9. Let me go back here. Sorry, I'm doing this in Photoshop. It's not working with me well. All right. I think maybe I already said them all. Okay. I think I did. Because I had 7 on my page and I have 8 here, so. Oh, no, I do have one more. I lied. It's one of the important ones. Go here. There we go. Keep the focus on the bully. So, what do I mean by that? Keeping the focus on the bully. There was a really good video I watched of a young man doing like role playing. Whenever I usually talk about this, I talk about these skills first, and we practice me actually bullying them or another teacher to get the feel of how to be assertive and how to not show emotion and don't take anything personal, be patient, learn to ignore, be assertive, get out if you can, and have others in your plan. We work on all these things, keeping pride in check, and then keeping the focus on the bully. So, this kind of goes along with the expression of killing them with kindness, right? So a lot of times, if what a bully would want when they're verbally attacking you is they want to fight, right? Either they want that anger from you, they want that scared, they want to know they hurt you. So, if you can roll those things off your back, don't take it personal, and whatever it is they're trying to hurt you about, I'll just turn it back on them. Like, say if I was playing a basketball game and I didn't do well and they did well and they were giving me a hard time about it, I would just say, yeah, I kind of struggled there, but you seem like you were on fire and you're doing so well. Like, how did you get so good? What did you do? And a lot of times you'll find a bully, because they're giving them kind of what they want. They want to remember, they want power and they want attention. So you're giving them attention, and you're giving them a compliment that makes them feel better about themselves, right? So they're getting what they want, but they don't have to hurt you in the process, and you don't have to. You're protecting yourself from that. There's a shield there from whatever they're saying to you, but then you are giving it freely what they're seeking, and you are kind of changing the interaction that they don't. If they want to feel better about themselves, all they have to do is encourage other people like you are doing for them. And most of the time, when you do this, you put it back on them, that focus, get them to talk about themselves, they'll talk about themselves all day. And sometimes that can be, if you're dealing with a narcissistic kind of person, and that's one way to cope with them. You'll probably never want to be their friend, but you'll be able to work with them, whatever it is, right? To whatever the situation is, to move on. I've had to do that. And but you just keep the focus on them whenever they say something negative. I'm just like, well, I tried my best, but you seem like you did pretty well. What did you do? So, and like I said, I usually role play this, but maybe I'll further talk about a video. I'll try to find some videos that are doing these things and point them out, and that's the way we could practice and role play with this. But if you do all 90s things, it should benefit you in some way. I prefer you do all of them, but as long as you utilize some, that you'll start utilizing others, and it takes practice, because sometimes it's hard to have thick skin, right? You have to be kind of a confident person to have that thick skin and not take things personal. And in the moment, when it just feels raw in the moment, and just very real, especially if they're bringing something up that is very personal. But like I said, you have to go in that mindset. Even when I talk about group or not group, but public speaking, one of the first things you have to do to get comfortable is do not care at all what they think. You can't, because once you start going to that thinking about what they're thinking, then you're not really paying attention or doing what you need in the moment, thinking about what you want to say, right? You can't think about two. You have to keep one focus on one thing. You can't focus on a couple of things at a time. Multitasking, I guess. Or if you try to do that, you're gonna get up there and be like, and not know what you want to say, and things like that. We'll go over maybe that topic another day. So, hopefully this helps someone. Just hearing things out, maybe things you can try and utilize. And like I said, I'll come back to this and I'll do like a reaction video of people coping with bullying, and if it kind of goes with how I talk about it. And remember, again, I'm saying bullying is different than assault. And if someone is assaulting you, that's a crime. And in extreme circumstances, you may have to defend yourself physically, right? That's the kind of the situation, but we're just talking about verbal, like someone verbally being aggressive. These things should help you cope with that. All right. Well, I hope everyone at least took something away from this. Like I said, I enjoy making these videos and putting these things, this out. And one is these things I am already talking about in a group setting. So when they're kind of fresh in my mind, I think it would be nice to put these down in a video, and then have people come back to it if they need to, or help anyone who's struggling with this. I mean, this is something we all dealt with and will deal with in the future. So if you have any questions, any suggestions, ideas, just put them down below, comment, and I hope everyone has a great day. Find something you're passionate about, find something that brings you joy. I'm not saying you do that all day, but you put that in your balance and make sure you do that, because that's why we're here, right? To find things we're passionate about and that we look forward to get up in the day to do, and hopefully that includes people you can share those experiences with. But all right, but you guys have a great day. I'll see you later. All right, bye.